handhelds. The future of PlayStation and Xbox, I think, will be a major part of it. And we have some more information here on a new Xbox cloud gaming handheld, not from Xbox themselves, but an iteration on a previous one that I've actually reviewed. So we will take a look at that. A portable PlayStation 6 is probably going to be happening as well. We have some more info on the power of that portable PS6. Assassin's Creed Shadows continues to show that it was a success, with some more numbers here pointing it to being a top selling game in the US. So good for that game, because it was a phenomenal game from everything that I have played so far. Still going through because it is so big. GTA 6 is going to be massive, and it's not on PC at launch. How much will that actually hurt the amount of money it's going to make? And will it push consoles even further? We have some Nintendo Switch 2 news in terms of pricing and potential inventory. It is sounding not great. It's a rumor at this point, but it isn't sounding too great, at least for the inventory and as well for the pricing side of things, as well as a new Star Wars game and some other things that we will go over. But if it is your first time here, or if you've been watching for a while and you are not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button to help this channel grow. 8 a.m. every day, you stay up to date on everything happening within the gaming industry. If you enjoy that style of content, you also enjoy discussions and everything, hit the subscribe button. But for now, let's jump into it. So we'll start off here with a smaller announcement, but it is the continued expansion of Xbox putting their games everywhere, including launchers that they do own now, because they do own Blizzard, but they are bringing Sea of Thieves over to Battle.net. This is kind of an odd one. You would think, why would they put this on Battle.net? But if you look at what they have been doing overall with all of their games, it makes sense. They've put pretty much all of their new releases onto Battle.net itself. Like Avowed has been there. I believe Indiana Jones has been there. And I think going forward, their first party releases are going to be there. I think South of Midnight is there as well. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I think it is. If not, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point it does end up there. But Sea of Thieves here is coming over to Battle.net. They say, prepare to welcome a new horde of would-be legends. Sea of Thieves is coming to Battle.net on May 22nd, including Cobalt Kestrel weapons for those who pre-purchase on the platform, a premium edition featuring sales honoring Blizzard heroes, and more. So they're putting it there. And I think the reasoning behind it is they just want to get as many eyes on their games for places that people are playing games. And Blizzard launcher, they have a huge fan base of gamers there that are playing the Blizzard games only. And maybe if they're going to load up World of Warcraft, or they're going to load up Overwatch or Diablo, or one of those huge titles that have a ton of players going in there, multiplayer focused games, they will see another multiplayer focused game with Sea of Thieves and think about giving it a try, because Sea of Thieves is extremely successful. I think at some point it reached over 40 million players, and then they launched onto the PlayStation 5 and it was a top seller on the PS5, and maybe they're hoping to kind of replicate that success here with the Battle.net's launcher, although it's just PC gamers that are going to be going in there and getting it. And I think it's primarily focused on gamers that are mainly just playing a couple of Blizzard games. That's the thing that they log into and play on a daily basis. And then maybe their eyes will open up to Sea of Thieves, and then potentially from there, their eyes open up to other Xbox games and Game Pass. I feel like that is kind of the strategy here that Xbox has going on in the background. Get your games everywhere, and then if you get them into a game that they do enjoy, they'll probably be interested in other games that come from Xbox Game Studios, and potentially see what else is out there and see what's available in Xbox Game Pass. So we'll see if they continue to do this. They must have numbers and analytics showing that previous games are actually having some sales on these launchers, and that's why they do end up doing it. But it must not cost very much to put it into a launcher that you already own. All right, handheld gaming is going to be huge next generation. And even right now, I enjoy my handheld gaming, and I've been primarily using it for cloud gaming. I had a Steam Deck, I had an Asus ROG Ally. I actually sold both of those because the battery life on them were just not great. And whenever I would play anything natively, you had like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then you'd have to carry around your charger with you everywhere. Not sure why I was expecting more than that, but I got rid of them. And then I started using cloud gaming a lot. I have a controller that I connect to my phone. I even sometimes use cloud gaming on my tablet and everything. And it's been working very well over the last year and a bit. I'm not sure if Xbox has increased or improved their overall cloud gaming features and service, but it's been working very well for me, even out of my house, away from my Wi-Fi connection, and using just mobile data. I can play games, which is really cool, and they run well. And now with the whole purchasable games that are available on cloud gaming, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, it makes that experience even better. There are handhelds dedicated solely to cloud gaming. And in fact, even on my Steam Deck and Asus ROG Ally, I was launching into cloud gaming lodges because it didn't kill the battery. And I think these types of handhelds will continue to be made and will continue to take off because you can keep the price down on them and you can get a lot better battery life out of them. One of those is from a company called Absolute. I reviewed their first handheld. I will have the link to that in the description below. I didn't like it. I didn't like the joysticks on it, and I found it kind of a bit laggy, but there was definitely potential in that handheld, and a lot of people did enjoy it. It just wasn't for me. They are making another one here for Xbox Cloud Gaming, and it's on Kickstarter, and it's already beating the overall Kickstarter goal by over $80,000 with 16 days left, which shows you how people want these handhelds, even just to focus on the cloud gaming side of things. This is going to be direct competitor with something like the Logitech G Cloud. And here it is. It is the Absolute One Pro, which it has a nice upgrade here over the first one. They say it's your all in one everyday handheld, works with Xbox Cloud Gaming, Xbox Remote Play emulators, and some native Android and iOS games. The device features 1080p 60Hz screen, digital capacitive joysticks, and this will be the biggest thing for me if I ever get one of these in my hands is how did they improve the joysticks on it, because the joysticks on the first one were not good. A custom launcher, 8 hours of battery life, which is a big reason why people would opt for this over the current PC handhelds out there. Precise feedback like an Xbox controller and much more, all for the price of $209 with the early bird Kickstarter offer. So there is a video here going over everything that it can do. You can even see here that he's outputting it onto a bigger screen and everything, but it does seem like it's going to be a nice improvement over the first one, especially from the joystick side of things. And I think this is going to be a relatively big thing in the future where we will see more of these cloud gaming handhelds come in that are trying to compete on the side of the whole PC handheld market because of things like battery life. Until, of course, the PC handhelds where you're playing games natively can get better battery life. Like if you can get up to like 4 hours on the Xbox handheld that does come out, that to me would be perfect. Is that possible? Not sure, but that would be perfect for playing games and downloading them natively. But I also think these cloud gaming things will continue to take off as it's going to be an easy solution for people who don't want to spend as much and want to have something that they can take with them all day on the go, know that the battery will last. When it comes to the PlayStation 6, we know that they are going to be coming out with some things that try to really show it off as this massive, huge leap to the next generation, as they do every single generation. But I do think PS6 will also have a handheld tie-in, more so than what we have right now with their current PlayStation Portal, which is just basically a remote play device, but they've also added in some cloud streaming features to it. I think they will have a native PlayStation 6 handle, which I think is cool because I like PlayStation handles. The PSP was great. The PS Vita was very good, but they cut it off way too fast. I wish they would have kept doing that. But now we have some more information here. It's a rumor as of right now, but the portable PlayStation 6, they are saying, won't be as powerful as the PlayStation 5. They say here, this is according to Kepler L2 on NeoGAF, and this is the same user who claimed that Sony is working on 2 SoCs for the PlayStation 6. The portable version of the new console won't be as powerful as the current gen PS5, and in a reply to a question about the handheld system, Kepler claims that it is a 15-watt SoC on 3 nanometer. Now, this to me is not shocking whatsoever. I did not expect by the time the PS6 comes out for PlayStation to put out a handheld that is as powerful as the PS5. If you look at what Xbox is doing with their handhelds, and I think will be along the lines of that, they've built the Xbox Series S, and I think they're going to be taking the Xbox Series S as a nice baseline platform to build out an Xbox handheld. So I would expect the next Xbox handheld to be kind of in line with the Xbox Series S. You're still going to be able to play all of the current generation games, and you're going to get versions of those with whatever is coming out on the PS6 and on the next Xbox. I feel like the PlayStation Portable is just going to be along those lines. Like an Xbox Series S, maybe even a little bit less powerful, but you're going to get access to your games. We're seeing some of the wizardry that can be done when developers look at the platforms that they have, take it seriously, and spend the time and resources to get games running on them. We're seeing this wizardry with the Nintendo Switch 2, games like Cyberpunk 2077 that is going to be running on there. We've seen comparisons of the Nintendo Switch 2 versus PS4 versions of games, and the Switch 2 is doing better. They have an NVIDIA card on there. They have DLSS. So all of these things can play in to making the handhelds play these games better. They don't have to have an insane over-the-top power. So I don't expect them to be as powerful as an Xbox Series X or as powerful as a PlayStation 5. But I do expect there to be multiple handhelds on the markets from the main competitors, PlayStation and Xbox, as we go to the next generation, which is an exciting thing to see. Which one is going to do better on the handheld market side of things? I think overall, when you're looking at the way that these consoles sells, PlayStation already has a big advantage going into specifically the sales side of this stuff, because they already have a big advantage on the console side of the sales. All right, let's talk Assassin's Creed Shadows, because there are still people out there that claim this game is a failure, which is kind of mind-blowing to me with the current data that we have. Now, things potentially could change if all of this ends up being lies. So I doubt it will, but things could change in the future. But as of right now, Assassin's Creed Shadows, from everything we've seen from player counts and from sales numbers or sales charts, it is being a very successful game. And we have more information here from Circana, the MPD results, and Matt Piscatella, who posted some more results here for just how well this game is doing, particularly in the United States. It says here, in a post on Blue Sky on Monday, Circana's Matt Piscatella revealed that Assassin's Creed Shadows has been the best-selling video game in the US each of its first 3 weeks on the market in terms of dollar sales. And it was added that it is the second best-selling game of the year to date, trailing only Monster Hunter Wilds. And Monster Hunter Wilds released just about 3 weeks before Assassin's Creed Shadows did on March 20th. So as of right now, it is the second best-selling video game in the US behind Monster Hunter Wilds. To me, that is a resounding success. We can look at Assassin's Creed Shadows and say, yes, this game is going to be meeting expectations and potentially doing better than they thought. They've put out numbers where I believe it is the second best selling Assassin's Creed games that they have put out. And it deserves it, because it is a very good video game if you've played it at all. I've played it about, I think, 20 some hours of it so far, and I've barely touched the map. I've just gone through and I'm trying to clear things. And I know people have already put in like 2 days, 3 days worth of gameplay into this game. But I play it on when I do have time to play games, and it's just phenomenal. You're going through this world and you're discovering new things. It's beautifully done. The combat is fun. The difference between the two characters is cool. So you kind of think how you want to attack certain situations, which character you think would be better for it. There's just a lot in this game that is really well done, and probably will end up being one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games. At least out of all of the open world ones, it's going to be up there competing with it being the top one. So good for them. And hopefully we will see what the exact amount of sales are at their financial reports and everything, because you're still having people claiming here that these numbers are masking that this game is not doing well, which is kind of insane to me. The biggest game that's going to be coming out this year is Grand Theft Auto 6. If it comes out, and I think it will, based off of Strauss Zelnick's recent interview and things that he has said. But one of the things that is obviously missing at launch from this game is PC release, because the PC GTA games make more money than the console games. So you have to ask yourself, when GTA 6 comes out, how many consoles are going to be pushed? How many people are going to go out there and buy a PS5 or an Xbox just to play this game, who are gamers that are playing everything on PC? I think there'll actually be a decent amount. This is one of those games that I do believe does push the needle forward when it comes to sales of consoles and comes to sales of any platform. Whereas a lot of people think this applies to every single game or every single platform exclusive game. I don't believe it does, but GTA 6 I do think is one of those games. And we have some information here on just how big this thing is on PC specifically, because again, it isn't releasing on PC day one. But they say here, over 3 years, PC revenue has already surpassed consoles. And they ask, will Grand Theft Auto 6 tip the scales in the favor of Xbox? And specifically, they say Xbox Heroes is obviously Windows Central, but I just think specifically will tip the scales in selling more consoles. Will we see a major jump in console sales because of GTA 6 when it does come out? But this is according to a new report. They say the PC market is the only one that has seen revenue growth over the last few years, which if you're wondering why all of these companies and publishers are putting their games on PC, because that is the growth market right now. And they say consoles, while in decline, aren't out just yet. There is a pseudo exclusive coming to the console platform in the next couple of years, and you might have heard of it. That is Grand Theft Auto 6. And according to the recent analysis, consoles declined by 2.1%, while Windows PC grew by 1.2% over the same time frame. And it also states that GTA 6 will help consoles overtake PC by a significant margin, which would be crazy to think that this one game is going to really, really push that console platform that fast and that big. And I honestly couldn't see it happening. Like when GTA 6 comes out, this thing is going to be the only thing people are talking about for a relatively long time, with gameplay clips, with the reviews, of course, people's opinions on it, comparing it to the older GTAs, looking at the different versions of the game across all of the different consoles. So getting the marketing rights for this game is actually going to be a big thing. There's been rumors out there that PlayStation has it. We don't know. But we will see whenever they do give us their next announcement, because they are holding their cards very close. They're holding their cards so close that other publishers don't even want to talk about when their games are going to come out because they don't want to release anywhere near Grand Theft Auto 6. So this is going to be a huge event. I'm excited for it, and I will absolutely be jumping in and playing this thing day one. The other major question here is, what's the price? Because when we're seeing the Nintendo Switch 2, the pricing of their games, you know, Rockstar and Take-Two, they are sitting there and they're licking their chops knowing that they can price GTA 6 at whatever they want and probably still sell it pretty good. So hopefully they don't go too crazy, but people are saying it's going to come in at $100. And speaking of pricing, this story keeps changing back and forth. There was hope that the Nintendo Switch 2 pricing would be officially announced again with a pre-order in the US and in Canada, and that nothing would be affected because of the whole tariffs going back and forth. But now that there are still tariffs on China and there's a significant amount of production of the Switch 2 in China, there are analysts here warning that the Switch 2 could have a price change and be affected and potentially go up in price. This says here, Nintendo warned to expect 145% tariff on the Nintendo Switch 2. This is according to Nikkei, one of the firm's major component suppliers, has warned the tech giants to expect a large hit when importing goods, namely the Nintendo Switch 2 to the US. And according to the report, a majority of the Nintendo Switch 2 consoles are being made in China, with only a relatively small portion being made in Vietnam. So that was the thing people were talking about first when the tariffs went on, was because he hit Vietnam with tariffs, and people were thinking, okay, Nintendo had moved production, or at least some of their production, to Vietnam to avoid, I think, things like this. And then Vietnam gets hit. So you're thinking they're going to have to raise the price. But the reality is, as they're saying here, the majority of the Switch 2 production is made in China, and they're still being hit with huge tariffs. So could this have a big effect on the pricing of the Nintendo Switch 2? We still do not know. We have no idea what the pricing is going to be. I was honestly expecting last week for some sort of announcement from Nintendo. That clearly has not happened. So they're still sitting back and waiting and weighing their options, I think, on what can they price it at that will still allow them to have a successful launch. I hope they just come in and keep the prices the same, because if they raise it, it will be pretty insane here, especially for a console that I think is a nice upgrade over the current Switch. I do think the $450 price tag is fine. I mean, I was expecting it to come in at $399, but $450 isn't extravagant in any way over what I thought it was going to be. But if they go higher than that, we're dealing with a console here that is older tech. It's not something that is revolutionary in any way from what they showed off. So anything higher than that, I think, could have an effect on how people go out there and buy this thing on day one. The other thing here is there's a big rumor going around that apparently stock, at least at GameStop, could be pretty scarce. It says here that most GameStop stores are expecting less than 100 Switch 2 consoles at launch. And this comes via Nintendo deal that they're saying are expecting around 100. So that could be less, that could be slightly more, but the games and accessories will be extremely limited. So they are preparing here for a smaller inventory at the launch, which my first thoughts when the Switch 2 was announced is that this is not going to be like the Series X and the PlayStation 5, simply because we don't have that chip shortage issue going on. We're not in a global pandemic, but we're obviously being hit here with a different economic thing happening. So this will get affected. This console launches, Series X, PS5, now the Switch 2 have had bad luck as to things happening around the world that have affected how people can get a hold of these. And if that's the case, that scarcity actually will probably help them, depending on whatever the price is. Because if they're very hard to get, even if they do raise the price, people will be trying to run out to get them and then trying to scalp them on eBay and try to make even many more money off of it, which is just such stupidity around the console launches. I wish they would just release enough inventory for the people that want to go out and buy it so that they can go out and purchase it. All right, we have a couple of more things here. First of all, there is a new game. We talked about this. This was kind of rumored that it was going to be announced or that it was in development. And it sounds pretty cool. I'm excited to see more about this game. But it was announced here, Star Wars Zero Company, a new single-player turn-based tactics game by BitReactor and Respawn. And we will be getting the first look at the title coming on April 19th at the Star Wars Celebration. I mean, it's a great IP to make that style of game. I think it'll be very cool to see. And of course, with Respawn and everything, I just love Respawn. I think they do great work. So I can't wait to see more of this on April 19th, just a few days away here. We'll be able to see Star Wars Zero Company and exactly what that game is about. And finally, Marathon. One of the most, again, head scratching things for me, especially after the fail of Conquer. Do you think PlayStation would rethink their pricing strategy with these styles of games? Is that Marathon is not going to be free to play. We don't know the price. I'm guessing $30 to $40, but the director explains why it isn't free to play. And then they say here that everyone has their own definition of what's the right price. So this game, obviously from Bungie, Joe Ziegler here was speaking with the Friends Per Second podcast, talked about it not being a free-to-play title. And he says this: we're hoping that what we're showing is exciting enough that someone is going to take the leap with us, but we are also committed to delivering on seasons past. This that will continuously offer to evolve the game without an increase in the box price. What we're hoping everyone understands about the game is that we're focused on committing to making this a game that's really awesome, and we think that starting point is really strong at this current time. Everyone's got their own definition of what is the right price. We don't know what the price is, but I have a feeling, like I said, it is going to be $40, maybe $30. Now, with that being said, I don't think it is the right pricing strategy. I do think Marathon will be okay. I know there's a lot of jumping to major conclusions out there on the internet, and I may end up being wrong, but people are already comparing this to Concord. I don't even think this is in the same boat as Concord. This is a Bungie game. They already have a very established fan base, even myself included, who loved Halo and I've played Destiny. I am interested in this game solely because it looks fun, but it's also Bungie. And I know Bungie makes phenomenal first-person shooters, so I have faith that they are going to give us something that will be interesting and fun to play. And I've been watching gameplay of it. The more I do watch it, the game looks good. Like, it looks fine. I think this one will have an audience. I think it will do okay. And I don't think this is going to fail in any form. Maybe someone clips this and maybe this game comes out and shuts down in 5 days instead of 6 days and I look an absolute idiot. But I think Marathon will be okay. I think even at $30 or $40, it will find its audience and this game will have support for much longer than Concord did. I don't think this is going to be an absolute failure like some people are already trying to make it out to be. But the reality is, you see that with every single game announcement these days, almost every game announcement, I should say. You have a group of people that just because the game isn't for them or they may not like it, think that the game is going to fail, which just is not the way that things work. But I'll end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.